I became a self-made millionaire after they all called me worthless. Now my parents are blowing up my phone saying family should help family. Your support is everything to us. Please subscribe, and while you're at it, tell us where you're watching from. We love connecting with you all. The text came through at 2:47 a.m. We need $50,000. Your father's in the hospital. Family helps family, Lillian. I stared at my phone screen, my hands trembling. Not from fear, from rage. Because the last time I'd seen my mother, Diane, she told me I was a waste of space who'd never amount to nothing. That was 3 years ago at my grandmother's funeral, right after I'd asked to borrow $200 for groceries. Ask your golden child, she'd sneered, loud enough for everyone to hear. My brother Gilbert had laughed, counting the crisp hundreds she'd just handed him. I was 22 then, working 2 jobs, sleeping in my car some nights. Now I'm 25, sitting in my penthouse overlooking downtown Atlanta, my tech startup valued at $8.3 million. The same family that called me worthless, that told me I'd never be nothing but a burden, was blowing up my phone like I owed them something. My phone buzzed again. Then again. 15 missed calls from Diane. 12 from Gilbert. Even my father, Gerald, who hadn't spoken to me since I was 19, left a voicemail. Baby girl, I know we had our differences, but I'm sick. Real sick. Your mama said you doing good now. We just need a little help. Little help. The same man who kicked me out at 17 because I ate too much wanted a little help. I felt my chest tighten, that old familiar shame trying to creep back in. But I wasn't that scared girl anymore. I took a screenshot of the messages and opened my laptop. This story needed to be told. Growing up, everything was always about Gilbert. He was 2 years older, and in my parents' eyes he could do no wrong. When he got arrested at 16 for stealing a car, Diane cried about the system targeting black boys. When I got a B+ in calculus, she asked why I couldn't be smart like Gilbert, who dropped out of high school. The favoritism wasn't subtle. Christmas 2015. Gilbert got a PlayStation 4, new Jordans, and $500 cash. I got a pack of dollar store socks and a lecture about being grateful. My birthday was always forgotten, but Gilbert's birthday parties had cakes from the expensive bakery and dozens of guests. You're just jealous, Diane would say whenever I complained. Gilbert has potential. You need to learn your place. My place. I learned it well. I was the one who cooked dinner when Diane was too tired. The one who cleaned up after Gilbert's parties. The one who got slapped for talking back while Gilbert cursed them out daily without consequence. But the worst part? They made me believe I deserved it. That I really was worthless. That the way they treated me was somehow my fault. When I was 17, I found a college acceptance letter hidden in Diane's drawer. A full scholarship to Georgia Tech. She'd never given it to me. When I confronted her, she didn't even look ashamed. College would have been wasted on you, she said, lighting a cigarette. Gilbert needs us to focus on getting him right. You're just selfish, always thinking about yourself. I moved out the next week with 2 garbage bags of clothes and $47 to my name. Nobody called to check if I was alive. The first 6 months on my own almost broke me. I was sleeping on my friend Tasha's couch, working at a call center during the day and cleaning offices at night. I'd wake up at 5 a.m., work until 3 p.m., nap for 2 hours, then work midnight to 6 a.m. I was exhausted, hungry, and completely alone. But I was free. At the call center, I met Jerome, a 30-something tech guy who noticed me teaching myself Python during lunch breaks. You're doing it wrong, he said one day, pulling up a chair. Let me show you. Jerome became my mentor, though I didn't know it then. He'd spend his breaks teaching me proper coding, recommending free courses, introducing me to developer communities online. You've got something, Lillian, he'd say. Raw talent. Don't waste it. I didn't. Every spare moment went into learning. Web development, app creation, UI/UX design. While my parents thought I was out there being worthless, I was building skills that would change my life. Meanwhile, Gilbert was still at home, 24 years old, no job, no education, living off Diane and Gerald's disability checks. According to my cousin Shanice, my only family member who kept in touch, he'd wrecked 2 cars, got 3 different girls pregnant, and was selling weed out of my parents' basement. But he had potential. When I turned 21, I got evicted from the room I'd finally saved up for. Roaches, broken heat, sketchy landlord. I couldn't take it anymore. I called home one last time. Mama, I just need a place to stay for 2 weeks while. We don't have room for your drama, Lillian. You made your choices. Figure it out. I heard Gilbert laughing in the background. That laugh haunts me still. Living in my 2001 Honda Civic was humbling in ways I can't fully describe. I'd park behind a 24-hour gym, sneak into shower at 5 a.m. using a borrowed membership card, then head to the library until my evening shift started. My diet consisted of dollar menu items and protein bars Tasha would slip into my bag when she thought I wasn't looking. But here's the thing about rock bottom, it clarifies everything. I had nothing to lose and everything to prove, even if just to myself. I was 23 when I built my first app. It was simple, a platform connecting local hairstylists with clients, with built-in scheduling and payment processing. I'd noticed how many stylists in Atlanta were independent, working from home, struggling to manage bookings. The app, Style Connect, filled a gap. I launched it with $300 borrowed from Jerome and a prayer. Within 2 months, 500 stylists had signed up. Within 6 months, that number hit 5,000. The commission fees, just 8% per transaction, started adding up. Really adding up. By month 8, I was making $15,000 monthly. I cried the first time I saw my bank account hit 5 figures. I'd moved into a real apartment, bought actual groceries, paid Jerome back triple. You need to think bigger, Jerome told me over coffee, our weekly ritual by then. This could scale nationally, internationally. But you need investment. I pitched to 17 venture capital firms. 17 rejections. The feedback was always the same. Too young, too inexperienced, too risky. One investor literally told me, maybe focus on getting a real job, sweetheart. The 18th firm was different. Madison Ventures, led by a Black woman named Patricia Moran who'd built her own empire from nothing. She looked at my pitch deck for exactly 7 minutes before saying, I'm in for $2 million. Let's change the game. Everything exploded from there. With Patricia's investment and mentorship, Style Connect became what I'd always envisioned. We expanded beyond hairstylists to makeup artists, nail techs, barbers, estheticians. Any independent beauty professional needed a platform to build their business. By the time I turned 25, we were operating in 40 states with 50,000 active professionals. The press started noticing. Forbes 30 under 30. Tech innovator to watch. From homeless to CEO, one woman's incredible journey. That last headline went viral and suddenly everyone wanted my story, including my family. The first message came from my Aunt Carol. Hey sweetie, so proud of you. We should catch up soon. This woman hadn't spoken to me in 8 years, had actually crossed the street once to avoid me when I was walking through our old neighborhood. Then came the cousins I barely knew, distant relatives, even my old high school guidance counselor who'd once told me to be realistic about my future. They all suddenly cared about my well-being, wanted to reconnect, had always believed in me. I ignored them all. But I knew who I was really waiting to hear from. On a Tuesday evening as I was reviewing quarterly projections, my phone rang. Unknown number. Something made me answer. Lillian, It was Gilbert, his voice strange, smaller somehow. It's me, your brother. I saw you on TV and, wow. I always knew you had it in you for real. Actually laughed. Couldn't help it. You laughed at me, Gilbert. When I called asking for help, you literally laughed. Silence. Then, come on, sis. That was different. We were all going through stuff then. But listen, I got this business idea. I hung up, but my hands were shaking. When Diane's 2:47 a.m. text came through, I wasn't surprised, just disappointed. Not in them, but in myself for hoping they might be different. That maybe, just maybe, they'd reach out to apologize. To acknowledge how they'd treated me. To say they were wrong. Instead, we need $50,000. I made coffee and read through the full message thread. Gerald was in the hospital with heart complications. The bills were piling up. They'd already burned through their savings, what little they had. Diane's message was desperate but entitled, a combination that made my stomach turn. You're doing so good now. This amount is nothing to you. Your father needs this. When you were struggling, we gave you a roof over your head for 17 years. You owe us. A roof over my head. Like I should be grateful for the bare minimum while they showered Gilbert with everything. Like I should forget every cruel word, every dismissive gesture, every time they made me feel worthless. I called Tasha my only real family. Girl, please tell me you're not considering this, she said immediately. She knew my patterns, knew I still carried that wounded child inside who desperately wanted her parents' love. I don't know what I'm doing, I admitted. He's my father, Tasha. He's sick. He's the man who kicked you out at 17 and called you a worthless drain. Don't let biology make you forget that. Her voice softened. Lillian, you don't owe them nothing. Not money, not time, not even a response. But family guilt is a powerful thing, especially in Black families where you're taught that blood means everything, that you always help your own no matter what. I'd internalized that messaging, even as my own blood had abandoned me. I didn't respond to Diane's message. Not yet. But I didn't block the number either. That hesitation would cost me. They showed up at my office 3 days later. I was in the middle of a board meeting when my assistant Michelle knocked urgently. Lillian, there are people here claiming to be your family. They're causing a scene in the lobby. My blood ran cold. Through the glass conference room walls I could see them. Diane, Gilbert, and 2 people I didn't immediately recognize. Gilbert's girlfriend and some man I'd never seen before. Patricia looked at me, her expression unreadable. Handle it. We'll reconvene in 20. I walked down to the lobby on shaking legs, my heels clicking against the marble floor of the building I'd bought last year. They looked out of place in this space. Diane in her worn jeans and cigarette-stained jacket, Gilbert in his sagging pants and fake gold chain. But what caught me off guard was how old they looked. Diane had aged 15 years in the 3 since I'd last seen her. Gerald wasn't even there. Still in the hospital, presumably. There she is. Diane announced loudly, attracting stares from my employees. My daughter, too good to help her own father. You hear that, everyone? This girl wouldn't even be alive without us. And now she's too bougie to save her daddy's life. Lower your voice, I said quietly, my heart pounding. And follow me. I led them to a small conference room, Michelle trailing behind uncertainly. Once the door closed, Diane erupted. You got some nerve making us wait. We've been calling you for days. Your father is dying and you're up here playing corporate, ignoring your family. I'm not playing anything, I said, surprised by how steady my voice was. And you're not family. Family doesn't treat people the way you treated me. Gilbert stepped forward. Come on, Lillian. Don't. I held up my hand. You don't get to come on me. Where was this energy when I was sleeping in my car? The room fell silent. Diane's face twisted, her mask slipping for just a moment before she recovered. We didn't know you was sleeping in your car. You never told us. I called you Mama. I called you crying, saying I got evicted, asking if I could stay for just 2 weeks. You said you didn't have room. Then I heard Gilbert laughing in the background. I turned to my brother, who at least had the decency to look uncomfortable. You remember that, Gilbert? You thought it was hilarious that I was homeless. I was high, man. I don't even. You're always high. That's not an excuse. Diane slammed her hand on the table. We made mistakes, okay? We wasn't perfect parents. But you don't abandon family over old drama. Your father is in that hospital bed asking for you, crying about his baby girl. His baby girl? I felt something crack inside me. Gerald hasn't called me his baby girl since I was 6 years old. The last thing he said to me was that I ate too much and he couldn't afford to feed a lazy daughter. I was 17 and weighed 110 pounds because I was literally starving myself so you'd stop complaining. The man I didn't recognize, tall, well-dressed, uncomfortable, finally spoke. Perhaps we should all take a breath here. I'm Pastor Williams from the family's church. I'm here as a mediator. Did they tell you the full story, Pastor? I interrupted. Did they mention hiding my college acceptance letter? Did they tell you about giving Gilbert thousands while I got nothing? Did they explain why I left? Pastor Williams looked at Diane, whose face had gone red. Sister Diane said there was a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was abuse. Emotional abuse, neglect, favoritism so extreme it was cruel. And now they want $50,000 because suddenly I'm valuable to them. You're being dramatic, Gilbert muttered. Something in me snapped. Michelle, I called out. My assistant appeared immediately. Please bring my laptop. Lillian, don't do this, Diane said, and for the first time she sounded scared. Do what? Tell the truth? Isn't that what Pastor Williams is here for? Honesty and healing. Michelle returned with my laptop. I opened it and pulled up a folder I'd created years ago. Screenshots, photos, documents. My own receipts of a childhood I could never quite let go of. This is my college acceptance letter from Georgia Tech full scholarship. Notice the date, August 2017. I found it in Mama's drawer in November 2017. Already past the acceptance deadline. She hid it from me. I turned the screen around. Pastor Williams leaned in, his expression changing. These are text messages from when I was 18, begging for help paying for textbooks at the community college I'd enrolled in myself. See Mama's response? Stop asking me for money, you're grown now. This next screenshot is from 2 days later. Gilbert's Instagram post showing off the new Xbox Diane bought him. He was 20, no job. That's private. Diane hissed. You got no right. These are medical records from when I was 16 and passed out at school for malnutrition. The nurse called home. Diane told her I was being dramatic for attention. I weighed 98 pounds. Pastor Williams stood up, his face pale. Sister Diane, you said your daughter abandoned the family without cause. She's twisting everything. Diane shouted. Making us look bad because she's bitter. We fed her, clothed her, gave her everything. You gave me trauma. My voice cracked, years of pain flooding out. You made me believe I was worthless. Do you know what that does to a child? To look at your own mother and see disgust? To watch your brother get everything while you get nothing and be told you deserve it. Gilbert finally found his voice. Lillian, I'm sorry. For real. I didn't know it was that deep. It was always that deep, Gilbert. You just didn't care. Pastor Williams cleared his throat. I think I'm beginning to understand the situation here. Sister Diane, Brother Gilbert, perhaps we should give Lillian some space. No. I stood up, my hands flat on the table. I want to know the real reason you're here. Because it's not just the $50,000, is it? Diane and Gilbert exchanged glances. There was that flash of guilt. Tell her, the girlfriend, I'd forgotten she was even there, suddenly spoke up. Just tell her the truth. I'm sick of this. Shut up, Brittany. Gilbert snapped. No. This is wrong, Gilbert. She deserves to know. Brittany turned to me and I saw genuine remorse in her eyes. Your parents are being evicted. They owe $30,000 in back rent and bills. Gilbert owes $15,000 to some dealers. Serious people who've been making threats. The hospital bill is real, but it's only $5,000. They were gonna take your money and split it. The room erupted. Diane screaming at Brittany, Gilbert trying to do damage control, Pastor Williams looking horrified. I just stood there numb. You were going to scam me, I said quietly, and somehow my voice cut through the chaos. Your own daughter. You were going to lie about how sick Gerald was so you could steal from me. It's not stealing. Diane's desperation was palpable now. You owe us. We raised you. You wouldn't have nothing without us. I have everything despite you. The words exploded out of me. Every single thing I've accomplished I did alone. While you were telling me I'd never be anything, I was teaching myself skills. While you were laughing at me for being homeless, I was building a business. You didn't raise me, you tried to destroy me. And the fact that I succeeded anyway? That's not because of you. That's in spite of you. So you'll just let your father die? Let us lose our home. Diane's voice turned cold. That's the daughter I raised? Heartless. I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but pity. You didn't raise me at all, Mama. I raised myself. Security was called. Gilbert tried to resist, talking about disrespect and family values, until two uniformed officers made it clear he needed to leave. Diane went quietly, but the look she gave me was pure venom. You're dead to me, she said at the elevator. You hear me? Dead. I've been dead to you my whole life, I replied. I'm just finally accepting it. After they left, I returned to the conference room where my board was waiting. Patricia studied my face, then spoke. You good? I nodded, not trusting my voice. The meeting continued and I forced myself to focus, to be professional. But inside I was 13 again, watching Diane hand Gilbert money for a new bike while telling me we couldn't afford school supplies. That evening I went to see Gerald in the hospital. Not because I owed him anything, but because I needed to see him, needed to understand if any part of my father was worth salvaging. He was alone in a semi-private room, looking small and gray in the hospital bed. When he saw me, his eyes widened. Lillian? Baby girl. Don't call me that. I sat in the chair by his bed, maintaining distance. I'm here to see how sick you really are. They told me you were dying. Gerald had the decency to look ashamed. I'm sick but not dying. Heart problems, high blood pressure. They want me to change my lifestyle, lose weight. So Diane lied. Again. She's scared, baby. We're in a bad spot financially, and when we saw you on TV looking so successful. He trailed off. We thought maybe you'd help. Your family. Family, I repeated. Gerald, when's my birthday? He blinked. What? My birthday. What's the date? He struggled, his mouth opening and closing. It's June. March 14th. I'm 25 years old and my father doesn't know my birthday. The heart monitor beeped steadily in the silence. I'm going to pay your hospital bill, I said finally. The real one, $5,000. I'll also give you $10,000 cash. That's it. That's all you get from me. Gerald's face lit up. Lillian, thank you. I knew you were a good girl. When you help with the rent too, we can... No. The word hung in the air. That $10,000 is the last money you'll ever see from me. I'm doing this because I need to live with myself, not because you deserve it. Use it for rent, use it for bills, use it however you want. But after this, we're done. You can't mean that. I'm your father. You're the man who contributed DNA. A father protects his children, supports them, loves them. You did none of that. You let Diane treat me like garbage. You kicked me out. You forgot my birthday. You never once asked if I was okay. I stood up, feeling lighter already. I forgive you, Gerald. Not for you, for me. I forgive you so I can move on without this weight. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean relationship. It means I'm choosing to stop letting you hurt me. Lillian, please. I hope you get better. I hope you change your life, lose the weight, treat your body right. But I won't be there to see it. This is goodbye. I walked out of that hospital room and didn't look back. The $15,000 I transferred that night, less than I make in a day now, bought me something priceless. Freedom. Diane called 47 times over the next week. Gilbert sent dozens of messages, ranging from apologetic to threatening. I blocked them all. When they showed up at my building again, security had instructions not to let them up. Patricia took me to dinner a month later after the dust had settled. You did the right thing, she said over wine. I know it doesn't feel like it, but you did. They're telling everyone I abandoned them. Shanice says half the family won't speak to me now. The family that stood by while you were mistreated? You've lost nothing of value. She was right, but it still hurt. That's the thing about toxic families. Leaving them is necessary but never painless. A year has passed since that day in the hospital. Style Connect is now valued at $47 million. We've expanded internationally, partnered with major beauty brands, and employed over 200 people. I've been named to multiple top entrepreneurs lists and spoken at conferences around the world. But the success I'm most proud of? I started a foundation called Second Chance Sisters, providing resources, mentorship, and microgrants to young women escaping toxic family situations. We've helped over 300 women find housing, learn skills, and build their own futures. I share my story not for pity but to let them know. You can survive. You can thrive. Your family's opinion of you doesn't define your worth. Tasha's getting married next month and I'm her maid of honor. Jerome's wife just had a baby and I'm the godmother. Patricia and I have coffee every Sunday talking about business and life. These people, the ones I chose, are my family now. Sometimes I still get messages from Diane and Gilbert, usually around holidays or when they need money. I don't respond. That chapter of my life is closed. Last week Shanice called. Your mama's been telling people you're cold-hearted and selfish. Just wanted you to know. And what do you think? I asked. I think you're the strongest person I know. I think they treated you like dirt and now they're mad you grew flowers anyway. I laughed, feeling that girl who once believed she was worthless fade a little more. I'm not worthless. I never was. And I don't need them to validate that truth anymore. My name is Lillian Marie Johnson. I'm a self-made millionaire, a CEO, a mentor, and a survivor. I'm building an empire not to prove them wrong, but to prove myself right. That I was always worthy, always capable, always enough. And to any woman reading this who's been told she's nothing by the people who should have built her up, you're enough too. Walk away. Build your life. Become the person they said you'd never be. Not for revenge. For yourself. Because that's the best success story of all.